going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. Today, we're going to be discussing Peter King's crazy trade scenarios, maybe a little outlandish, I should say. Matt, he had two that he proposed, and let me read them out to you one at a time, and I'll get your thoughts on it. The first one, it's for Deshaun Watson, and he has the 49ers shipping out a 2021 first, a 2021 second, and a 2022 third, along with Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike McGlinchey, and Fred Warner. That's a hefty price tag for Deshaun Watson. What do you think? Well,
it's even more than what you're saying because he threw a 2022 first in there also. So it's two firsts, a second, a third, Jimmy, McGlinchey, and Warner for Deshaun Watson. Peter King is high. I like Deshaun Watson as much as the next person, but you're going to give away all this talent and then this is how Houston got in trouble, was trading away good players and getting nothing in return. You know, Laramie Tunsil, but you send out, two first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil? Mm-hmm. Like, are you team building or are you rebuilding? If the 49ers were in rebuild mode, then maybe this makes sense. But the last thing that Deshaun Watson wants is to be on the Houston Texans. And if this trade goes through, the 49ers quickly look like they're the Houston Texans. So to me, this is too much. And I mean, this is almost as egregious as when Mel Kiper Jr. came out with his mock draft and he said Mac Jones was going 8th to the Panthers. And I was like, somebody retire that man. He is too old to be saying this kind of nonsense. It's over his head. It's gone. It's done. This trade scenario is bad, but it's not as bad as the one we got coming up. So we'll save that for when that comes, but you cannot give up all that for Deshaun Watson. I mean, you're talking about, come on. 4 draft picks, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike McGlinchey, and Fred Warner for one guy? That's crazy town. I don't understand that. So no, to me, that's a hard pass.
Yeah, I think all that hairspray went to Mel Kiper's head. He must be inhaling too many fumes. This trade scenario, though, it's ridiculous. It was ridiculous even without the second first-round pick that I forgot to throw in there. If you're talking about it with just those picks and Jimmy, maybe. But all those picks, Jimmy, Mike, which is a cornerstone of this offense, there's no way we could lose Mike McGlinchey. And then Fred Warner, obviously I'm joking. Fred Warner is the big piece that hurts the most out of all of this. Yeah. I think that the 49ers could easily do that trade without throwing in Fred Warner, or if you're going to throw in Fred Warner, maybe keep a first. This is a bit overkill. It's like stomping on a bug with a tractor. It's like, okay, he's dead. You don't need to do all of that. It's just way too much. Yeah, This is one of those trades that if the 49ers actually offered it, the Texans would be dumb to say no, right? Like, this is one of those that's so over the top that you're like, well, all right. This is Bruce Wayne walking into the restaurant or whatever, and the waiter goes, hey, your chicks aren't supposed to swim in the pool, and he's like, all right, I'll buy the hotel. Like, this is what that is, and of course, Slim Mike needs to eat a sandwich. Maybe that Texas barbecue could do him some good to put on some weight. That's whatever. Even if it was just the picks, right? 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a third, and Jimmy, I'd be okay with that. That's good. That's fair compensation. But you're talking about Fred Warner too. I mean, I know we have to pay him, and he's coming up on a contract year, but come on, man. Fred Warner is an absolute stud. He's the defensive leader. Quarterback is the most important position on the field, but every position has its limits of importance. You can't gut the team around Deshaun Watson and then expect him to do anything. Look what he did in Houston. Nothing, because they didn't have the surrounding talent around him. So, yeah, to me, I don't know. Peter King lost his mind. He needs to go on vacation or something. Retire. Yeah, definitely.
It's past you, dude.
It's a crazy trade scenario. Also, does this, if they were to do that trade, right? And I know a lot of people have said they're drawing the parallels between trading Buckner because you couldn't afford to keep him and trading Warner because you might not be able to afford to keep him. Does that set a dangerous precedent that The 49ers aren't going to reward you with a contract if you ball out. They're just going to trade you to somebody who does.
I don't necessarily think so because they rewarded Eric Armstead. So they've definitely shown in free agency with Kyle Juszczyk, with Dee Ford, with Quan Alexander. Some may argue George Kittle. Our guest on the live show over the weekend, Mike, says they overspent on George Kittle. And now you look at potentially, what they're doing with Fred Warner. They have shown that they're willing to spend money. It's just a matter of, what they're willing to spend the money on in terms of which player, the Buckner thing was a unique situation where they identified a guy that they thought they could go get. So the 49ers had their first round pick, right? And then they trade Buckner and get a second first round pick. Now you have multiple things that you could do with it. So, they ended up moving up to get Brandon Ayuk, but they drafted a guy who could very well be a replacement for Buckner eventually. And they ended up saving money. Buckner got a ridiculous amount of money. Fred Warner is not going to get anywhere near the contract that Buckner got just because the linebackers aren't making that kind of money anymore. Warner's looking more like George Kittle money, like $15 million a year, something like that. And for what he produces, I think he's totally worth it. He's been healthy. He's been a locker room leader. He's been consistently great on the field. Fred Warners don't grow on trees. And I know Deshaun Watson doesn't grow on trees either. But if you're going to trade, Fred Warner away and you're going to get a Deshaun Watson, you at least want to be able to build some pieces around him. And then the 2 first-round picks and the second and the third, it just gets to be too much. And as egregious as this is, I would actually take this deal over the next deal that Peter King proposes. You explain that piece of trash.
Okay. The next deal that he has, it's a 49ers favorite involving Kirk Cousins. I'm saying that obviously joking. He came up with a 3-way trade, sends Deshaun Watson to Minnesota, break all the 49ers fans that want him, their hearts right now, while shipping Kirk Cousins to San Francisco, the 49ers 2021 first-round pick, and Garoppolo to Houston. The Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr and running back Alexander Madison, plus 2 first-round picks from Minnesota to Houston. It's a messy situation going on here that ends with the 49ers netting Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Well, here, listen, all the other pieces I don't give a crap about. Here's what it is. You're essentially trading the 12th overall pick for Kirk Cousins. 12th overall pick and Jimmy Garoppolo away from the team for Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Peter King. I'm going to put you in a home myself. That is ridiculous. That is the dumbest trade scenario I have ever heard. Like, this is a guy that's been in the business for how long? How did this even type it out? And he goes, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. This is an egregious, like, armchair GM job by Peter King. This is a dumb trade scenario. First of all, Kirk Cousins might not even necessarily be an improvement over Jimmy Garoppolo in anything other than the fact that he's healthier. Their play style is eerily similar. And you're going to trade away 12 also? I might hesitate at a Jimmy Garoppolo Kirk Cousins trade straight up just because Kirk Cousins makes so much more money.
Yeah, that was going to be my next
point. You're going to tell me that you're going to trade away 12 Garoppolo, get rid of Garoppolo's salary, but take on Cousins' salary, and then we still have all the holes that we have on the team, but you traded away 12, so we're not going to get an impact player. Like, in what world? This makes sense for nobody except for Houston. It doesn't even make that much sense for Minnesota. I mean, they're giving up 2 first-round picks, a good linebacker, a running back who's like, it's whatever, and a quarterback. Like, this dude, he must be a Houston Texans fan because he wants Houston to get everything in these trades.
It's a lot. And, you brought up the money issue. Kirk Cousins got a fully guaranteed contract back in 2018, $84 million, average annual of $28 million. So, it broke down to 26 in 2018, 28 2019, and 30 in 2020. This dude's making some serious money, and the 49ers, if you think Jimmy's making good money, too much money, Kirk is making even more. So I don't see that playing out at all, and I agree with Matt. Peter King, I don't know what you're smoking. Put it down. Get some help. Stop it. The old Michael Jordan meme.
Yeah, stop it. Get some help. Yeah, no, seriously. There really the only thing left to say on these trade scenarios is you like that? No, I don't, Peter King.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. I think that's going to do it for this episode, though, guys. If you like what you see, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button below. Help us get to 2,000 subscribers so we can give away a 49ers jersey. Like this video. Comment your thoughts on these outlandish trade scenarios below.
Go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss another new video. Thanks as always for joining us, guys. Until next time, go Niners.